Today, we are going to crack open an ancient text that gives this just incredibly practical guide for one of the hardest situations any of us face. What do you do when someone in your community, someone you care about, fails? This isn't about judgment. It's a blueprint for restoration that feels a lot more like surgery. And we're going to break down the whole procedure. So let me just ask you this straight up. When a friend, a coworker, someone in your family messes up, and I mean really messes up, what is your first gut instinct? Is it to judge them, to kind of back away? Or do you try to step in and help? And if you do help, how do you do it without just making everything a million times worse? It's a tough spot to be in, for sure. Well, believe it or not, this one single sentence, written almost 2,000 years ago, gives us this powerful, step-by-step process for that exact situation. It's like a precise prescription for healing. So today, we're going to unpack its 4 key parts: the community, the crisis, the cure, and maybe most importantly, the caution. Okay, so to really get what's being said here, we have to understand the people it was said to. And it all kicks off with that very first word, brothers. Now, this is way more than just a friendly, hey, buddy. It's actually the entire foundation for everything that comes next. The Greek word used is adelphos, and it signals this deep shared identity. The people reading this letter saw themselves as one big spiritual household, adopted into a totally new kind of family. This bond was meant to be stronger than blood ties, social status, or your background. So when one person messes up, it's not some outsider's problem. No, it's a family crisis. So what kind of crisis are we talking about here? The verse says, if anyone is caught in any transgression. And the specific words used here are so important because they define the problem in a really particular way. Okay, so this word caught, it's key. It doesn't mean like a thief getting caught red-handed. The original Greek actually means to be overtaken by something, to be completely blindsided. A great example is the Apostle Peter. He was so confident he'd never deny Jesus. But then, bam, he's caught off guard by fear and pressure, and he does the very thing he said he'd never do. This is about someone who gets overwhelmed by a temptation they just did not see coming. And the word transgression means lapse, a slip, basically crossing a line you shouldn't have. So we're not talking about a little slip up. This is a real moral failure. Someone in the family wasn't on guard. They stumbled hard, and now they're broken, and they need help from their spiritual family. And that brings us to maybe the most critical question. If someone has fallen, who on earth is qualified to do this really delicate job of putting them back together? The text is specific. You who are spiritual. But what in the world does that actually mean? The Greek word is pneumatakos, and it just means a life that's guided by and sensitive to God's Spirit. Now, this is really important. This isn't some elite club of super saints. In the context of the whole letter this comes from, this is supposed to be the normal way of life for every single believer. And this shows us a huge distinction. The call is for the spiritual, not the sinless. Come on. If being sinless was the requirement, nobody would ever qualify, right? I mean, the Apostle John even wrote, if we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves. The point is, the people who are supposed to help aren't perfect. They're just the ones who are still trying to walk in dependence on the Spirit instead of on their own strength. All right, so we've got the community, we've got the crisis, and we know who's qualified to help. Now we get to the main event, the action itself, restore him. And the word used here, oh man, it is one of the most powerful in this whole passage. It completely reframes this whole thing. It's not punishment, it's a healing surgical procedure. The word is kathartizo. In ancient Greek, this was a medical term. It's what you did to set a broken bone or pop a dislocated joint back into its socket. Just think about that. A believer who has fallen is like a dislocated limb in the body. They're broken, they're out of place, they can't function. The whole goal is to gently and skillfully put them back where they belong so they can heal and be a part of things again. The theologian William Barclay just put it so perfectly. He said the whole feeling of the word is about cure, not punishment. It's an amendment, not a penalty. The goal of this spiritual surgery is never, ever to shame someone,
but always to heal them and get them back to health. And this surgery has two really specific goals. First, you want to restore their method for living, getting them back on track, depending on the spirit again. And second, you want to restore their fellowship with God, because that's been broken by what happened. It's about mending both their walk and their relationship. Now, anybody who's had a broken bone knows you can't just go yanking on it. The person setting it has to be incredibly careful. And that is exactly why the text tells us what the surgeon's attitude has to be. This delicate operation must be done in a spirit of gentleness.
Gentleness here does not mean weakness. It's actually the opposite. It's real strength and power that's under perfect control. It's the quality of a person who isn't all wrapped up in their own self-importance. Coming at this with a harsh, by-the-book attitude is only going to cause more damage. A gentle spirit treats the broken person with compassion, and that's what creates the space for real healing.
So, the surgeon's ready. They've got the right goal, healing. They've got the right attitude, gentleness. But there is one last absolutely crucial instruction. It's like the warning label on the bottle for the healer themselves. The verse finishes with, "Keep watch on yourself, lest you too be tempted." The Greek word for keep watch is skopeo. It's where we get our word scope, like in telescope or microscope. It means to look really carefully, to fix your attention on something. It's a command for the spiritual person to be constantly checking their own heart, their own motives, their own weak spots.
So why is this warning so critical? Well, the theologian Augustine of Hippo just nails the reason with this statement. Think about that for a second. It's this deep, humbling awareness that we are all human, and we are all capable of falling. The person helping has to remember they're made of the exact same stuff as the person who stumbled.
And this right here, this is the ultimate takeaway. The thing that keeps us from being arrogant or judgmental is humility. It's just this constant recognition that, hey, the roles could easily be reversed. The person you are helping back up today might be the very one you need to help you up tomorrow. And man, that changes everything, doesn't it? So that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. In our own communities, our families, our friendships, our workplaces, we're all going to play both of these parts at some point in our lives. The question is, which role are you in right now? And when the time comes to be the surgeon, are you prepared to be the kind that actually heals instead of harms?